Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale.
All your good, yes? I was lining with some old men before the election, and well, I was amazed of their discussion. They were discussing the election of 2025, how Africans were selling cheap and UNC buying dead or alive. One old man shout out, fellas, give me your attention. UNC can't win by themselves, no election. You see, they're sitting and they're planning to make a decision. So she called out Shilaga, who the old FIFA wanted man. She said, call the trade union, let we start negotiations. And we could call out a big sale and we go buy out some Africans. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. Sing the thing. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. She don't have all she chance and she the honor rhymes. Now what she need is some slave names, man, some big strong Africans. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying good or bad. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. Jamaica and Trinidad. Oh, somebody pinch me. Hey, UNC sitting and they're waiting patiently. With about 16 safe seats, they don't win that already. The woman said, I have my people, and they are born UNCs. Now all I need is some Africans who got their names out of slavery. She said that she hear they're really selling cheap, and she could buy them very cheap, 500 and a jersey. A lot of people will cry when she's finished with CPEP, because she is not holding back them P&M have nothing to get. She said this party be for country, all you never, never forget. She will care for her people and she have no blasting regret. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. She buying Africans for sale, for sale. Listen, we buying Africans. She said we like crab in a barrel. We pulling each other down. But I want their votes, so I jam them the winning song. And all they know it, Africans when you see wins, everybody wins. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale, Jamaica and Trinidad. Hi, who called me? I want this verse slow, right? Black mines in Tobago, she's working on them with ease, but she's not afraid because monkeys say cool breeze. She said the last time she was easy, this time there is no room for mistakes, cause when she's done with Tobago, it's either they make or break. She has her eyes on Moruga, especially Samuel Cooper. They got a lot of P&M houses, but none of them can remember. She's buying some in 6 company because they're nice, they're bad and they're trim. Their ancestors came from Africa and all of them is Americans. She passed through 5 company and she bunks up Madingo. Well, boy, she makes she name cause she get Africans for Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. Listen this. We buying Africa. Doc Faisabad was pretty serious with her reading the cemetery. He said I'm waiting for refinery point and man had to be crazy. What? Africans. Oh. song so.
Willing to listen to anyone on this side? Mr. Speaker, it's a disgrace. A disgrace.
It makes
It's an abuse of process.
here. Marshal, Chief Whip, have your seat. Have your seat.
And that disrespect.
Given the frivolous, vexatious, ill-advised wording and intent of this motion, I believe it should be defeated forthwith. And Mr. Speaker, in those circumstances, in accordance with Standing Order 52.1, I beg to move that the question be now put. I thank you. What is being south? Yeah, I know. Yeah, hold on. Boris Pinsout, can I hear you on the application to pursuant to 52.1? I will give you a hearing on that, but it seems to me that the purport of the standing order is quite clear. And any residual discretion, I have to refuse it. Is a very narrowly circumscribed one. But I will hear you on that.
Mr. Speaker, I see that 52.1 anticipates the closure of the debate, and it asks that a question, after a question has been proposed, any member may at any time during the course of the debate rise in his place and move that the question be now put, and unless it appears to the chair that the motion is an abuse of the rules of the House or an infringement of the rights of the minority, the question now be put shall immediately be put. Mr. Speaker, it is my respectful submission that to accede to this request abuses my rights as to speak on a private member's motion day, which today has been specifically allocated for.
I've read these standing orders. There are two sets of standing orders which provide for closure for debate. There is Standing Order 46.2, which provides that any minister may move an application to close a debate which is critical of the government. That standing order is confined to a minister moving the House. Standing Order 52 is a standing order of general application. Any member may move to close a debate pursuant to 52. The jurisdiction of the Speaker is then a very narrowly circumscribed jurisdiction. So there are two instances in which the Speaker can refuse to accede to putting the question. It only arises in two circumstances. One, if it is an abuse of the rules. Plainly, an abuse of the rules has to be that the rule is being used for an improper motive. Okay? I don't think we have any such evidence here. The only issue which arises is whether or not it is, and I want to quote it, it is an infringement of the rights of the minority. Mays, McGee, all the textbooks, I have read them. There has been extensive debate on this. 8 speakers have spoken. 8 speakers have spoken. Everyone has spoken who has spoken so far. It's been largely repetitious. I've considered these standing orders because I've read them. And as I said, the discretion which is to be exercised is not an open textured one. It is only in two very narrowly circumscribed, hang on a second, pull the screens out. Narrowly circumscribed circumstances that it can be refused. That's the problem. The way the standing orders are constructed is that once you don't meet either an abuse or a suppression of the minority, the question has to be put. In my respectful view, the evidence does not arise to an abuse of the rules, and neither is it an infringement on the rights of the minority. Everyone has a right to speak, but the historical evidence is, no, I'm ruling. Don't wish to hear anymore. I heard you. Have a seat. Have a seat. Order spins out. Porter.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Renison Jeffrey. This is the Workers' Rights Platform. We are broadcasting live on the Workers' Rights Network. Today is the 10th of March 2026. Now is exactly 56 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. Trinidad and Tobago. Before we go on this extensive discussion today, I would like to shout out thanks to all of you that would have wished me birthday greetings today. Yes, today is my birthday. But yet still, you know they're always trying to pull down the TikTok live. Right. But yet still, Trinidad and Tobago, I am here to do my father's business. So Trinidad and Tobago, we reached a point, a junction, as I would have taken the time yesterday to explain the situation in full. I would like to say to you, Trinidad and Tobago, it's a total disgrace for what we are seeing for parliamentary practice within the parliaments of Trinidad and Tobago. We have witnessed right now a dictatorship that have been pronounced on us here in Trinidad and Tobago. Forgive me for starting it late, but yet still, I had to do what I had to do, you had to do what you had to do. But today, we are going to expose the jailer that it have in Parliament. Many of you know, I know some of you went and checked the records yesterday when I would have told you, Trinidad and Tobago, that Jagdeo Singh, the Speaker of the House, is our old jailer. Yes! Jagdeo Singh is our old jailer. And not only that, Trinidad and Tobago, the second thing is even more important. Jagdeo Singh was caught in a sting operation. Yes. Where he would have tried to pervert the course of justice in this country by trying to bribe a judge and a police officer. The records are there for you to see. When it is, I believe, Trinidad and Tobago, that people could reform. I really believe that people could reform. I believe that repentance is for every man. I honestly believe that. we examine the behavioral pattern of Jagdeo Singh, we are seeing similar traits. We are seeing similar actions from a man that would have spit in the face of justice. Instead he tell the client that, hey, here what's going on. You see what take place in this court? If it is you have to get sentenced, this is what it is. But in the face of all of that, Jagdeo Singh, that old jailer, would have sink to the lowest of lows. And he would have engaged in a series of events that would have put him behind bars. Have him shitting in pigtail bucket and emptying it out, bathing naked before the guards. Yes. And today, Trinidad and Tobago, we are seeing in our parliament, we only hear, because that would have decided to highlight and try to use the two quirky argument that the opposition is of equal sin. The opposition is not always the opposition. The opposition in between 2010 to 2015 was Rowley opposition. The opposition today from 2025 till now is Penelope Becker's opposition, different management altogether. How it is these UNC fanatics and them is going to come in the public domain and say, hey, Rowley walk out of parliament, Colin and Bird walk out of parliament, and not give context to the whole story. But we know what the UNC followers is about. We know that there are many of them, a matter of fact, that have no brains. And they let Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who was publicly called a drunk. Yes, Kamala, you was called a drunk by the previous leader of the same party that you are piloting, that it went unchallenged. You never challenged that. Jakwana called you a drunk. Pandey called you a drunk. And plenty of the people within the membership, down to Philip Edward Alexander, say you're drunk and you're peeing down yourself. Yeah. But let me come back to the story. I go come to you next, Kamala. You come on an election promise, and up till today you never deliver on the promise. But let's go in to this parliamentary debate that would have taken place on Friday, in which the opposition walk out, not Rowley opposition, but Penelope. And we would have seen consistently the opposition is engaging in filibustering within the parliament, talking long without saying nothing, winded words. The government, nothing the government is saying, too much of winded words, but no action behind it, only the action to put strain and distress on the population of Trinidad and Tobago. Yes. So that old stinking jailer, Jagdeo Singh, who would have disgraced the law profession in Trinidad and Tobago by accepting a bribe and coming off on a technicality that the bribe did reach from he to the police, to the police or to the judge. He was let out. Not that he was innocent. No. There is how serious it is in this country. We have a jailbird in parliament that would have already signaled to the general population that law means nothing to him. And he don't mind changing the course of justice at will for a payout, he would have signaled that to the public. And we reach today, Trinidad and Tobago, where it is, we must talk it as it is. We would have seen that old jailer, Jagdeo Singh. Yeah, the old jailer. Is the prime minister of the party he support. Make no bones about it. Jagdeo Singh is a UNC. He would have been on several UNC platforms hustling till he reached in the position of Speaker of the House. Make no bones about it. He was hustling through all these crime talks. Yes, he was on stage for the crime talks. He would have endorsed Divinish Mirage. And just mere months after, weeks after, the general election call and the UNC would have succeeded at the polls, Jagdeo Singh ended up Speaker of the House. Ayana Ali, in which we was told, reliably informed, a matter of fact, from people of the Princestown district, that her father, who is a Muslim, we would have been informed of that he would have supported the UNC party financially, heavily. So he made an investment according to the information that was given to us. And I could go in to disseminate facts here, because at the end of the day, we are hearing today that he's not too pleased because he wanted his daughter, Ayana Ali, to be a minister, not no deputy speaker. That's not what he paid for. That is what we hear on the ground. A UNC, and we all know Wade Back is a UNC. So we have the Senate, the President of the Senate, the Speaker of the House, and the Deputy Speaker of the House, both three of them being UNC members. And what I say here, I say it without fear or favor. So when the opposition would have brought a bill to debate within the parliaments of Trinidad and Tobago, the jailer would have seen it fit to throw out the matter. And we are here today, the average man on the street, trying to understand what would have taken place there within the parliaments of our country. So, without no overdue again, we would have brought this book to the forefront and the focal point of our discussion. It's King May, parliamentary privilege, that would have spoken extensively and would have proved to you, the general public, that the behavior in which Jagdeo Singh is getting on with, yes, that old stinking jailer, Jagdeo Singh, you jailer, would have brought before the parliament is a farce. That man would have put together cleverly devised statements in which we call argumentum ad lapidem in the Latin sense, which means appeal to the stone. You make a statement without providing any single proof. You quote King May. You quote all the parliamentary rules. I read them all without bringing any facts. But yet still, that kangaroo court, you feel as an old jailer, you carrying on a case within the jail. Or you're getting tired of it. Before a jailer see the magistrate, they just carry on courts within the jail and run skits. But little do Jagdeo Singh know that members of the public is a lot more smarter than he think, and everybody don't know he bias. Yes, Jagdeo, I know you're biased. You old stinking jailer. That is showing no level of consistency where he have been reformed. Here it is, a blatant disrespect to the parliamentary rules in parliament, in which the opposition in finish speak. And you would have allowed Jagdeo Singh, you, the jailer, you would have allowed the bill to collapse by quoting without revelation, hoping that people in will not catch on to you. And in our own constitution in Trinidad and Tobago, the language in the Standing Order 52 in Trinidad and Tobago is close to King May. It states the Speaker must refuse closure if it appears to be abuse of the rule, an infringement, or an infringement on the rights of the majority. And before the Speaker of the House accept the contribution from the opposition, that nasty stinking jailer would have having the intent within his heart not to obey law and order according to the pattern of when he would have accepted the bribe. This man in court or interpret or try to prove to the public in concordance to our standing order that Rural Munilal did not abuse the rules and it wasn't an infringement on the minority. If you see Trinidad and Tobago, in the whole discussion, members of the opposition, all of them, did not get a chance to speak. But yet still, the jailer, Jagdeo Singh, never allowed the contribution from the rest of the PNM senators, MPs as well. So here it is. We know one thing about this jailer, that he have no fear to break the law or to bend it in a direction that will suit him. All for a bribe or a payout. He would have made that known when he would have accepted the money. So in this instant, where we would have seen the parliamentary speaker, Jagdeo Singh, the old stinking jailer, would have interpreted the law not to suit the rights of the minority, but to serve the right of the majority. When Rudal Mulilal stand up and say, hey, let me close this thing. That's what he's saying, smart. That is what Rudal Mulilal say in smart. Let me close this thing. Because it is repetitious, you hear a couple of ministers, because you would have heard these ministers and them, these MPs, talk, and let me say 5 out of them was repetitious. You can't say, Rudal Mulilal, that all of them is going to say the same thing. But yet still, you would have seen the Speaker of the House, the old jailer, that known to pervert, that he have no problem with initiating or causing law to be perverted for a payout. Close off the debate. And the salient point is that an infringement on the rights of the majority. If the Speaker did not see an infringement on the rights of the majority, and what are these rights? Trinidad and Tobago, the right to speak on the Members' Day bill. All of them didn't speak on it. So it's wrong for Jagdeo Singh to come up here and take, apparently like he take a little instructions from Rudal Mulilal. And the average man, when they see that, they ain't gonna understand it. Here is what the propaganda machine in the UNC is going to do. The UNC, the PNM walkout parliament. Because they don't care about you. They don't care about the average man. They walk out of parliament and not fulfill their duty as members of parliament. That is the narrative that they send in. And they are not bringing Jagdeo Singh, the non-UNC member, the jailer, that used to shit in a bucket in jail and wait in the morning to line it up. And if you shit in the bucket 9 o'clock in the night, you have to smell that straight down to 6 o'clock. That is not what you go tell her, yeah? Jagdeo Singh want to make it look like if he's holier than thou. He want to make it look like if he cannot mash on hands. We could go into this thing a little more, because I'm seeing Candace on TikTok, so we could add she. Yesterday we would have talked about the constitutional context of free speech. And we would have lead straight down to the build-up, straight down to the Westminster system. The debate occurs on Private Members' Day, intended for opposition motion. Members have been appeared to be prevented from speaking. So important limitation. Because of parliamentary, just now, let me bring this down to a close here. Right. Because of parliamentary privilege, section 55 of the Constitution, courts generally cannot overturn parliamentary rulings. So Jagdeo Singh knows that the PNM cannot go in court to overturn any ruling that takes place in the parliament. He knows that very well. So it are no way of evaluating Jagdeo Singh behavior or conduct within the court, within the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. Because the court can't make no ruling on it. It has nobody that could say he make a bad ruling. None. So he know what he doing. He have absolute power. A motion against the speaker. Yeah, you could try and put motions against the speaker, add privilege complaints and political accountability, in which we here have to do. So key legal arguments the opposition could raise, a matter of fact. Standing Order Section 52 requires protection of the minority rights. Private Members' Day is specifically for opposition debate. Members were prevented from speaking before closure was imposed. So here it is. You see, members would have been indicating to the jailer that they want to speak. They have something to say. They want to talk about the issues within Parliament. And you hear, you see, a matter of fact, that rural Mulilal stand up, and then the Speaker of the House that ought to be autonomous and say, hey, the rest of members in talk. They have something to say. You call it tedious repetition. But you can say, from what these members would have spoken about, is all that there is to say about the particular issue. And the government of the day is preying on your ignorance of the matter. A matter of fact, you see, people getting tired up with what's taking place. Getting tired up. Bad, big time.
You're not willing to listen to anyone on this side? Mr. Speaker, it's a disgrace. A disgrace.
It makes
It's an abuse of process.
here. Marshal, Chief Whip, have your seat. Have your seat.
And that disrespect.
Given the frivolous, vexatious, ill-advised wording and intent of this motion, I believe it should be defeated forthwith. And Mr. Speaker, in those circumstances, in accordance with Standing Order 52.1, I beg to move that the question be now put. I thank you. For it's been so. Yeah, I know. Yeah, hold on. Boris Prince out, can I hear you on the application to pursuant to 52.1? I will give you a hearing on that, but it seems to me that the purport of the standing order is quite clear. And any residual discretion, I have to refuse it, is a very narrowly circumscribed one. But I will hear you on that.
Mr. Speaker, I see that 52.1 anticipates the closure of the debate, and it asks that a question, after a question has been proposed, any member may at any time during the course of the debate rise in his place and move that the question be now put, and unless it appears to the chair that the motion is an abuse of the rules of the House or an infringement of the rights of the minority, the question now be put shall immediately be put. Mr. Speaker, it is my respectful submission that to accede to this request abuses my rights as to speak on a private member's motion day, which today has been specifically allocated for.
I've read these standing orders. There are two sets of standing orders which provide for closure.
Now, what Jagdeo Singh would have done there, before Keith Scotland could express himself clearly. He stand up and he stop him in mid-flight. Because he know that to reach out to the general public so they could start to understand what is taking place within Parliament. That is to give him leave to do what he wants and appear brilliant. And appear brilliant to the public. But little do we know, I know he's a dance. I know that. I know that.
For debate. There is Standing Order 46-2, which provides that any minister may move an application to close a debate which is critical of the government.
Now, let me bring this into full view. Now, there is what we call two things here. What Jagdeo Singh do, he would have changed and placed things in two different domains and not use these terms univocally. Let me explain here why. There is a fallacy of composition. And the opposite to composition. Just so I want to get this thing correct. I want to get this thing correct. I want to understand what I mean. The fallacy of composition to get this thing. Right, the fallacy of composition, an informal logical fallacy occurring when one incorrect assumption that what is true for one individual part must be true for the whole. And there is the fallacy of depression. Composition. So when one thing is true, that doesn't mean it's true for every part. And why I'm saying that is this. When he would have said that any minister could put a question and they had to take it into consideration, he's not bringing it together with the private members' day part of the Constitution. When it's okay, generally, for a minister to do that, is it right to take that into consideration on private members' day? But before the facts was disseminated, Jagdeo Singh would have done what typically magistrate and judges do within the court. When they do not want certain things to take place, they shut down debates by opening their mouth. And then you had to sit down. You had to sit down. So Jagdeo Singh would have been dishonest in what he's doing, in what he would have just done. The fallacy of composition and division. So what is true about the whole sometimes is not true about a single part. Right? And sometimes what is true about a part is not true about the whole thing. So Jagdeo Singh would have cleverly operated there, not in the best interest of the minor. You see, that is the most important part about the Standing Order 52, you know. Because it's to protect the rights of the majority. So even if a minister come out and say something, is that now an infringement on the rights of the majority? And the majority would have said they want to continually speak. There will have been some that didn't get a chance, that wanted the chance to speak. Or you have to understand, Oh, you don't understand. And look at here. Look at here. I'm going to bring it back a little bit for you to understand what Jagdeo do.
Which provide for closure for debate. There is
Has been specifically allocated for.
Stop him there.
I've read these standing orders. There are two sets of standing orders which provide for closure for debate. There is Standing Order 46-2, which provides that any minister may move an application to close a debate which is critical of the government. That standing order is confined to a minister moving the House.
Right, so a minister, it confined to a minister. So what about private members day? How that apply to private members day? If the minority, boy, you're getting tired of this thing, Jagdeo, how you feel?
Standing Order 52 is a standing order of general application. Any member may move to close a debate pursuant to 52. The jurisdiction of the Speaker is then a very narrowly circumscribed jurisdiction. So there are two instances in which the Speaker can refuse to accede to putting the question. It only arises in two circumstances. One, if it is an abuse of the rules. Plainly, an abuse of the rules has to be that the rule is being used for an improper motive. Okay?
And here it is, Trinidad and Tobago. What is the improper motive? You feel the opposition, you feel the government would have answered all the questions of the opposition? Or you're getting tired with this thing? You see, in the Westminster Parliamentary procedure, Trinidad and Tobago follows the Westminster Parliamentary model. Closure motions must not silence the legitimate minority debate. Speakers traditionally protect the opposition rights to scrutiny. This principle is emphasized in Erskine May parliamentary practice, which guides the Commonwealth Parliament. It states that closure should only be accepted when debate has become repetitive, adequate opportunity has been given to opposition views. Key legal argument. I went into that. So if Trinidad and Tobago, adequate amount of opportunities has been given to the opposition, they could close it. And what might you say is adequate in this situation, Trinidad and Tobago?
I don't think we have any such evidence here. The only issue which arises is whether or not it is, and I want to quote it, it is an infringement of the rights of the minority. Mays, McGee, all the textbooks, I have read them. There has been extensive debate on this. 8 speakers have spoken. 8 speakers have spoken. Everyone has spoken who has spoken so far. It's been largely repetitious. I've considered these standing orders because I've read them. And as I said, the discretion which is to be exercised is not an open textured one. It is only in 2 very narrowly circumscribed, hang on a second, narrowly circumscribed circumstances that it can be refused. That's the problem. The way the standing orders are constructed is that once you don't meet either an abuse or a suppression of the minority, the question has to be put.
If it don't mean abuse or the silence of the majority, the question have to be put. other speakers who have not spoken already is willing to speak or want to speak, isn't that not a suppression of the minority? Is it not fortune telling when you are saying, or you're trying to describe it in a way, hey, plenty of them speak, and it would have been largely repetitive, and you is using that to project within the future to say if we let them speak, they are going to be repetitive too at the same time. Jagdeo Singh, you are playing smart with foolishness. You see that old jailer mentality that you're coming here in the parliaments of this country, in the honorable parliament, to try to pull wool over the people I have trained. That I want to tell you to subscribe to the platform and I know when we coming on in it. Because at the end of the day, what Jagdeo Singh would have engaged in there just now there by saying the speaker described his discretion as very narrowly circumscribed, while technically true, Trinidad and Tobago. While technically true, the speaker still has discretion to protect the rights of the minority. The debate have not been exhausted, and the opposition members still wishes to speak. Then refusing them could be seen as improper application of the standing order. And what Rudal Munilal would have engaged in is just that. Because at the end of the day, Trinidad and Tobago, let me walk you through Earth King May. Closure of debate and protection of the minority. Earth King May explains that the speaker must consider whether debate has been sufficient. The debate has been sufficient before accepting the closure motion. And we all would have seen, Trinidad and Tobago, that the opposition still wishes to speak. People who didn't speak yet still wishes to speak, and Jagdeo Singh tell them plainly that he don't want to hear what they're saying. He's going to rule regardless to what the opposition have to say. And that is the same behavior that he would have engaged in earlier on in his lifetime. Despite the rules, despite law, this man would have made it plain that he don't care about that. Once the unlawful thing could put $1 in the pocket, he don't mind. How much money he did get out of that? The Speaker of the House must judge whether the motion for closure is an abuse of the rules of the House or an infringement on the rights of the majority. Earth King May Parliamentary Practice chapter on the closure of debate. This language directly reflects many Commonwealth standing orders, including standing orders of Trinidad and Tobago. Speaker's direction to protect debate, discretion to protect debate. Another relevant passage explains the role of the Speaker in protecting minority practices. Participation. The chair has a responsibility to safeguard the rights of the minority and ensure that the closure is not used to curtail legitimate debate. The closure should not be accepted if the House have not adequate opportunity for discussing, or if the important minority opinion have not yet been expressed. So here it is. We would have seen the opposition on their legs, willing and interested in debating still. Members of the parliament still on the opposition bench have not contributed to the debate and wanted their chance to do so. And what Jagdeo Singh would have done within the parliament is take away the rights. That old stinking jailer, take away the rights of the opposition, members of that parliament, to have their say. Earth's King May, Trinidad and Tobago, also warns against premature closure of debate. The closure should not be accepted if the House has not had adequate opportunity for discussing, or if the important minority opinion have not yet been expressed. Therefore, parliamentary procedures requires the Speaker to act as a neutral protector of the minority rights. It's King May. And here it is. At the end of the day, the jailer, Jagdeo Singh, would have chosen not to do so. I say that without no apology. That man, if what you see on the tape Trinidad and Tobago is not an abuse, I don't know what to tell you. This thing here is very serious in the parliaments of our country. That is when you allow a man with no moral, nasty, stinking jailer that would have gotten caught up in a bribe to bribe a judge and a police officer and get caught in a sting operation. That was the crimes of Jagdeo Singh, and the reason why Jagdeo Singh would have gotten out. Yes, you Jagdeo, your old jailer. The reason why you would have gotten off, Jagdeo, is because of a technicality. Because the money that the police collect in the sting operation, the police didn't get it in the hand, and the judge didn't get it. So here it is. Here it is. Here how this matter go. Now, the jury that preside over that matter now have to think, or now have to entertain a thought that Jagdeo Singh may have been taking the money for himself and not the magistrate, neither the police officer. So he get let out on a technicality based on something like that. Oh, you have to understand how law works. So Trinidad and Tobago, Standing Order 52, would have talked explicitly of abuse of the rules and an infringement on the rights of the minority. And the minority within the parliament is the PNM, and they would have expressed their willingness to continue with the debate when other members would not have spoken as yet. And here it is that in this instant, because we in Trinidad and Tobago is so gullible, we think that these people and them is for us. No, they're not for us. They don't want to hear us. They don't want to hear us at all.
In my respectful view, the evidence does not arise to an abuse of the rules, and neither is it an infringement on the rights of the minority. Everyone has a right to speak, but if historical evidence is, no, I'm ruling. Don't wish to hear anymore. I heard you. Have a seat. Have a seat. Port of Spain South. Port of Spain South. Port of Spain South. I am standing. We cannot both stand. We cannot both stand. Have your seat. Have your seat. Have your seat. There has been ample precedent set in this House, because I've read it too. I think members who know me know that I have read the Hansard just for historical interest. There are two narrowly circumscribed. Member, please resume your seat. Member, resume your seat. I propose to put the question.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, the question is,
Speaker.
be it resolved.
Mr. Speaker, you're not willing to listen to anyone on this side? Mr. Speaker, it's a disgrace. A disgrace.
Due process.
Here. Marshal, Chief Whip, have your seat. Have your seat.
And disrespect.
Members, I propose to put the question. Honorable members, the question is, be it resolved that this honorable House take note of the socio-economic impact of increased unemployment in communities arising from mass terminations and non-renewal of contracts, and of the resulting breakdown in community and social life. And be it further resolved that this government urgently respond to this developing socio-economic crisis by immediately providing adequate and meaningful social relief measures. All in favor, say aye. Any against? No. The noes have it.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that this House do now adjourn to a date to be fixed.
That is the behavior of the Speaker, in which we would have clearly seen that the Speaker of the House would have abused his power by shutting down, but by collapsing the opposition statements within the Parliament. So Trinidad and Tobago, we reached our logical end here, and we back here tomorrow considering that.
The reality is, Mr.
And yeah, we go play that tape after. Just to show you the pattern. Not only the speaker had a pattern in it. As you would have known, Barry Padarat had that same pattern. And we urge you members of the public to come out to speak with us. Send your number for me on WhatsApp on Workers' Rights 868. We are launching a project, a matter of fact. We are on the verge of it. It's just for the legal team to come on board concerning that. And we are going to launch out on that particular thing. Speak your mind. That is the name. That is the name of what we are about to launch. So, again, my name is Renison Jeffrey. This is the Workers' Rights Platform. We are broadcasting live on the Workers' Rights Network. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being in the comment section and making your voice heard. Candace, good night. Good night, everybody that are there. Thanks for watching. I know what's going on with TikTok. At this point in time, I'm realizing that like it misbehaving. So this here again is evident of what is taking place within the parliament. They don't want to hear nobody. Trust what I say. Thanks for watching.
Speaker, that there are too many instances before the court and in the public domain where not only allegations but evidence before in different criminal proceedings where justices of the peace are not only rubber stamping warrants, but where there were justices of the peace issuing search warrants without even name and address, giving it to the Trinidad and Tobago, some officers of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, and they put the name on it when they want to enter your home. Mr. Speaker, we have to stand as what kind of behavior. And we have to, Mr. Speaker, and we have to stand as watchdogs of that kind of behavior, especially when there is inference of political persecution from members opposite. When they point at
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, 48-6, sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. With your nonsense. Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Trust me, we